Here we are again, happy as can be, all good friends and jolly good company. Do you remember that song?
No.
What is it?
It was a song. I don't know, like old people used to say it when I was a kid. But not anymore. Now, here is the latest problem I've got for you. I couldn't decide on the title for this one. This is one of my specially written ideas. Could be a series, probably needs to be because there's a lot you can do with this. So two possible, it's a bit like Doctor Strangelove. That's got two titles, hasn't it? Right, Deserted, okay, because it's about a desert. Or Sand Everywhere, yeah, it's got a comedic style to it because like in the desert, sand everywhere, you know. So you can pick one of those. We'll probably pick one. By the time it's actually like on telly or whatever, we'll have chosen one. But it's like working titles. Right, so what is Deserted or Sand Everywhere? It is a Dune, you've got to be careful to do that with a D and not a J in the month. A Dune type ultra-futuristic and apocalyptic script, even though I avoided seeing Dune because I didn't want to be influenced. In this world, fresh water is scarce and paid for through the nose by wealthy elites. They drink it normally. And when I wrote that, I was like, no, they drink it normally. The shrinking poorer population has to make do with desalinated water from the sea. But the desalination process isn't perfect due to low investment and results in early deaths for them. They're plotting an uprising, but this won't change the fact the fresh water is scarce, so it's mostly about envy. This has a high chance of getting made because you can talk about climate change a lot in this, and you can blame rich people for the mess too. This ticks two massive boxes for funding. Discuss. Okay, so this is a future world. I didn't see Dune. You might have seen it. Did you see it?
I have not.
I did.
Yeah.
A lot of sand.
A lot of sand,
Sand
right?
everywhere.
So we've got that in common. So I suppose this is what I thought Dune was about, without seeing it. And I could be right, I could be wrong. But the idea is, hey, there's just not enough water to go around. What are we going to do with that? And they're letting people have salt water, which is something that they need to do in real life. You know, they're kind of trying to desalinate salt water, but it's like corroding everything. They're like, oh, I can't do it, can't do it. And they have to find a way to do it, otherwise, you know, they could run out of water. If you have a bucket of water, yeah, can you imagine? If we had a bucket of water there, I don't know how big the bucket is, but about that, I was never told in this how big the bucket was, but I would say about that. And they said, if what is in that bucket is all the water in the world, how much of that bucket is fresh water versus salt water? Yeah? How much do you think? How much do you think? This is the top of the bucket. There, there, there.
Are you asking the...
No, you asked
Yeah.
Low, very low.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would say quite
Same.
high.
I'd go heaps of salt water.
Yeah, I would.
Wait,
Yeah,
no.
I think that's what he meant, isn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Not very
fresh
much
water
fresh
is in the
water.
minority.
Oh.
Lots of salt water.
I would probably say like 80% of the Earth's water is probably salt water.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you agree with him?
I'll go 85 just to be different.
I'll go 95.
Oh wow, so they made you look like you really. Do you know what? It's far worse than you could ever imagine. Right? But I'll fix that now. The guy said to me, or the thing that I watched, can't remember, I meet so many people, that if you put your hand in the bucket and you pull your hand out, what is left on your hand is all the fresh water there is. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He never said how big the bucket was, but it's like a unitary. Oh, it's a bucket of water, so it's not like it's like that. It's a bucket of water that you use for things. Yeah. So there's not much.
What if can I cheat? Can I gain?
It would slip away. You couldn't, because you could get such a And that's kind of against the spirit of the thing anyway, isn't it?
I
Because
guess that's not changing what it's.
no,
proving.
because this is meant to
I
illustrate.
think all the salt water would probably get in with that little bit of fresh water in the bucket, so it would just
It's all going to be salt
salt.
water, basically.
I
That's
think
the
it's
problem. Or
Fusion.
what is it? Bracken.
Bracken.
When they mix, like happens in Florida, they mix where fresh water and salt water mix. Is it bracken water? It would become. But you're right. I mean, if we're being really kind of literal about it, but in proportion terms,
Scary.
I've got a wet hand.
Scary.
I've got a wet hand. That's all the fresh water.
Mm.
Harrison says not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a world where they're like,
I'd be licking your hand.
yeah, I'd have the.
I'd be
This
watching.
this would be the end, because if all the fresh water that existed was whatever was my wet hand,
We're in trouble.
we've had it. You can lick my hand, but all you've gained is you'll live 3 minutes longer than everyone else. You know, it's just like,
It's a
It's
wedding.
terrible 3 minutes as well.
what would you do with that? Everybody's dead. You'd probably sand.
No, there's moisture in a lot of things
Yeah,
though,
lick
that
everyone's
we
hands.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, like the dead people's hands.
Blood. You could drink blood.
It's a good couple of days there.
Do you
Yeah.
think? Well, anyway, there's not much of it. So this is why they've got a beef. And I was thinking because we're always thinking about, look, how do these things get made? How do these things get made? And they get made by having like some form of like now agenda about them, like, oh, this is a problem now. If we do something that talks about the problem now, then people will be more likely to, yeah, we'll make that because we agree with that problem. And this just absolutely nails it on the head. It's like, bang, right. Because you can just go, all the climate change stuff, you can just go, see, see.
How are you spelling that?
Very good, yeah. Not,
Thank you.
no, but it doesn't really work because the sea is salty. There's plenty of that.
Mm.
See, and one of the things, I don't know if you've noticed, hopefully it'd still be around because it's take a couple of years to get this off the ground, but like David Attenborough, David Attenborough, you could have him in it, like,
In the film.
yeah, like wearing a cloak, and so he wouldn't be David Attenborough, but
David Attenborough
playing maybe like this Mondahep character or someone like that, yeah, where he's like a see, I told you, because whenever they've changed him, yeah, they've changed him, he's changed, like he's still the same guy, but they've kind of tricked him and changed him, because when I was younger, he would just sort of go to jungles and say, look at that monkey. Look at this thing here. Look at that. Nowadays, he only does voiceovers. And when you actually like write down, as I have, because I was kind of fascinated, effectively what he's saying in his voiceovers, it's like, you're all going to die in pain and misery. And, you know, over like pictures of waterfalls and like zebra and all of this kind of stuff. It's like, your charred bodies will flake into nothingness, you know, your children will hate you. These are the kind. So he's saying all of this stuff, but we're like, oh, it's David, though. It's David Attenborough. So sounds bad, but it's
sweet.
nicely
Yeah.
delivered, yeah.
Mm.
So he's perfect for this because he can deliver apocalyptic "I told you so's," but because he delivers it in his "you're all going to die in massive pain very soon." And because he's saying it, they're not taking it seriously. They go, "Oh, that's nice."
Oh,
They're like,
They're
"That's
sort of falling
nice."
asleep.
But
at
then
that
is
point, aren't
are those warnings then falling on deaf ears, or do you think it's kind of like you learn the lesson by osmosis, but you're not really, if you're just listening to his lovely sort of floaty voice, you're not really paying attention to the fact that we're all going to burn up into dust.
Even in this situation, some people will be listening and some people won't. You know, there'll be some people going, "Oh, it's not that bad. That's not that bad."
Mm.
The salty water, you know, they've tried to get the salt out of it. I'm used to it now. Sort of building up in the organs, you know, making everything a bit. Can't really.
Does everyone look a bit sort of pruny in this?
Yeah, the
A bit leathery.
hot sun. Yeah, it's hard.
Frazzled.
It's hard. I mean, like the makeup department's going to have to really,
Big time.
you know.
That'll be where a lot of the budget goes.
Or we could just cast a lot of leathery, frazzled-looking people.
Mm. But remember, you'll be saving money on locations because you can literally
It's
just
the
go to the desert.
You
Yeah.
just go to a desert.
So a few umbrellas,
You
catering.
don't need like a permit or anything to film in the desert, do you? You just sort of go to a bit of desert and.
You could, because the desert's so big in some places, you could go and do it, not tell anyone, and by the time they found out, you've like shot the whole series. You're like, joke's on you.
Because of the changing sand dunes as well, no one's going to be able to be like, hang on a sec,
Where are
that's
they?
that part of the desert. They can't film there because by the time they get to there, it's going to look completely different.
Exactly, and by the time they've seen it, you've made it.
Mm.
Right? So, like, oh, I think that's our desert. Can we charge them money? And we're like, prove it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could just say it was in a studio, couldn't you?
Yeah, you just say, oh, we did that inside.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, don't think you did. Yeah, I don't
Right.
care. Get lost. So you're saving money that way. So it's kind of, I mean, it really ticks so many boxes. It's so I think, I mean, it'll get made, but it'll only get made if it's good, right?
Mm.
If it's good, and I'm going to say that it might be good, and we're going to find out. So here is the scene. The poor are at the marketplace when they spy a shipment of fresh water apparently struggling with its engine. So it's a bit, you know, so they've got people are carting around big tanks of fresh water on through the desert, and it's sort of guarded and that. Ranjo Gorkum and his wife Felzina, futuristic names, are among and about the baying mob, while wise chieftain Mondahep, who could be played by David Attenborough, tries to calm the situation. There is also an unnamed character who speaks for the mob, which is common in mob scenes. So you see, I don't think I really, but maybe for the benefit of viewers, I need to explain that because they'll have seen it, but they'll struggle to kind of join the dots on that one.
Mm.
So it's like, you know how when you have a mob scene, they're like, "Rah, rah, rah," and then they all go a bit quiet, and then one person says, "We're not going to do that," and they'll go "Rah," like that, and
The representative.
yeah, and it's never like, at most there's 3 if it's a really big scene, 3 people like that, but there's never like 20. Like, I don't think so. Like, oh, I've not agreed with you. You know, like they're all on the same page, and they. For the benefit of the film, that we kind of need one person to represent them. So,
And the extras just aren't good enough, really, to be able to convey the emotion.
Yeah.
we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Because extras, like particularly when you get to like the distance, you'd really just want them to stand there and go, yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
which is all maybe make a noise.
Yeah.
So-
Bit of a baying mob.
So consider that like a part. So let's dole out the characters. Mondahep, who wants to? I'm not saying do it in a David Attenborough voice, but you could. Mondahep, who wants to be Mondahep?
I could try it in a David Attenborough if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Felzina, that's the woman part.
Shall I do that?
Think so.
Great.
Ranjo. So it's now between Ranjo and unnamed. Now I'm not technically an actor.
Well, I'll
So-
take Ranjo, and then you can sort of
I'll be
hear
unnamed.
more of how it sounds in the actors' voices.
I could do like mob noises,
Or with like a
Mm.
little
I do like
chuntering undercurrent.
general mob
Mm.
noises, kind of approve or disapprove of what's being said,
Mm.
and then be the guy. So I think that'll work pretty well. All right. So
I assume we're all quite, quite dry as well, quite dusty. Yeah?
that's still too wet.
Yeah, that's a bit Gollum-y.
I don't know how you express disapproval when really thirsty. No, it's still too wet. Look, I'm not going to say I've mastered it, but we will.
Sand everywhere.
I'll do what I can.
Mm.
Yeah, they'd kind of, yeah, maybe I'll work that in. Because that'll be the thing people will be saying all the time.
Mm.
And you love it when you
Oh.
see that in a TV show, don't you?
Yeah.
And you see
And
the
they say that
title.
They say the
Oh,
say the title.
They've only gone and said it.
Sand everywhere. And they're never
You'd
surprised.
probably have to record it on at least 3 cameras in the same direction each time, because when they did Dune, sand got in the cameras, and so that was a real problem for
Down the road.
production.
It's a heads up.
Sand everywhere.
Sand everywhere. So you almost, if you have a mic mounted on the camera, you get to catch the cameraman saying it, so you can be part of the mob.
Mhm.
You go, sand everywhere.
Yeah.
You're like,
Surround sounds
yeah.
and that.
And he would be naturally
Wildly
dry
dry.
because he's in a dry environment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, the
Mm.
thing to remember when we're on location, the mob would be. I mean, you'd actually give them water and stuff,
You'd have to give them a bit. wouldn't
but
You
they'd be.
Ration it though, couldn't you? Just to
You say, come on,
you?
guys.
Squirt at the start of the day.
Come
at
on,
the end of the
guys.
day.
Squirt at the end of the day.
Method, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's. And they go, but I'm only an extra. Saying, yeah, but you know,
Exactly.
we're in Tunisia. We've flown you over here. Can you know, do it?
Mm. We
And,
know we're not going
um,
to get a good performance out of you if we don't.
You go to the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want the drier
Mm.
extras.
Yeah. Those
Front and
prepared to be
Mm-hmm.
the driest.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You sort of, yeah. Take a swab each day. Who's the driest?
it's easy. Who's
the
the
front.
driest?
Organise it
Who's the
that way.
driest extra? And they get to stand next to like one of the main
Yeah.
parts.
That's
Who's
a
not
really
showered
good idea
today?
because then naturally they'll all get a bit drier and a bit more haggard because they'll obviously want to be.
They want to be featured
Yeah.
at the end of the day, don't
And you
they?
could create like a really nice bit of method conflict because you've called it sand everywhere, but in actual fact, there isn't sand everywhere because they'll be part of the show where there will be the elite, wealthy side, and they won't be in the
yeah.
sand.
No, yeah.
They will be sand free,
Yeah.
very hydrated,
Looked after.
and
the
these
extras.
these poor people, they will really hate them.
And then you've got a
because-
real sort of story there, haven't
Yeah.
you?
And you would be like, so they would be saying, because they'd like pass one another
Mm.
between like scenes and things probably.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And they're like the extras would go like, oh, it's sand everywhere, and they become passive.
What are you talking
No,
about?
there isn't.
Sit.
Haven't seen any
Mm.
sand.
The practicing lines from the show.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could. Yeah, I like it because I love a bit of, real kind of
Mm.
class conflict. So
Mm.
even if it doesn't exist, like in reality, if we can produce it, if we can fake it, then you make a much better
Mm.
film overall.
If anything, we're catering. Just sprinkle some extra sand in the
In the
food.
sandwiches.
Yeah.
crunchy.
Record it. Record.
Oh,
Get some
sand in
mics in
there.
there.
Yeah.
So you capture a few natural sand.
Put it in their
everywhere.
beds, maybe.
Mm.
Oh, sand everywhere.
In
They-
their socks. at the
They
start
just
of the
get
day.
like crackers as well,
Mm.
like dry crackers.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good.
So if we go for, let's do it. I didn't put anything like to set the scene, so you just have to start with Mondahep. I'll tell you what. I'll make dry noises, and you just start.
Okay. Not massively dry.
No.
I wouldn't
That's
say
quite
very.
sneakily.
I would do sort of tumbleweed sounds.
Is it more like inhaling? But it is
That's
a
quite
mob.
snaky.
You do need to make.
They've
it
had
sound
their
like
they've
it's a
had
lot.
they've had their salty water too. So
Mhm. Oh yeah.
That's quite
Bit
good.
of a catch. Oh, that was good. That little choke one.
Stop this. Stop this. You would be fools to attack that shipment. That there will be consequences.
Not if we hide our faces and break the cameras.
They'll be back. Every shipment will be accounted for, and the innocent will pay as high a price as the guilty.
Mondahep, you are wise. I am prepared to agree with my friend. Thievery is beneath us.
but the sun is relentless. We can take care. We deserve this.
What will convince you? Must blood be spilled first?
Only the blood of those couriers if they don't surrender the fresh stuff. Let's get 'em. The mob jog in the direction of the shipment, alerting the stricken couriers.
You two fools. We're already downtrodden. What more can they do?
Felzina, don't go with them.
What kind of man are you? When will you stand and fight for your people?
Felzina breaks into a trot and follows the mob.
Her strong will see her thrashed before the magistrate.
I can't let her go alone. Curses.
Ranjo follows as well.
You should never have married that woman.
Oh, but his wisdom is endless.
We sounded actually just like a group of very, very old people
Yeah.
in a care home.
I was getting that.
Yeah.
But what they have in common with old people in their care home is near death. Yeah, maybe that's what near death sounds like. So, in a way, not bad. You see, obviously we're artists, but the only concern that I have is that it's got to be accessible to viewers, and it's quite a lot of listening to very dry people, and also I suppose there would be, glottal fatigue, where it's like, I've done too many today, So it was good because I did feel that if nothing else, I felt that it was very dry, and that they sounded very thirsty. So that's accurate. But should we? I like the David Attenborough. I think maybe if you could do it almost in a detached fashion, as if you're narrating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just out of interest.
It would be. It would feel slightly less urgent.
But we're just here to throw ideas around. So I think
Let's see.
we'll try it.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with what I did. I think if we can we be half as dry.
Yeah.
Okay. Avoid moisture, but don't run from it.
Stop this. Stop this. You would be fools to attack that shipment. There will be consequences.
Not if we hide our faces and break the cameras.
They'll be back. Every shipment will be accounted for, and the innocent will pay as high a price as the guilty.
Mondahep, you are wise. I am prepared to agree with my friend. Thievery is beneath us.
But the sun is relentless. We can take care. We deserve this.
What will convince you? Must blood be spilled first?
Only the blood of those couriers if they don't surrender the fresh stuff. Let's get 'em. The mob jog in the direction of the shipment, alerting the stricken couriers.
You two fools! We're already downtrodden. What more can they do?
Xena, don't go with them.
What kind of man are you? When will you stand and fight for your people?
Felzina breaks into a trot and follows the mob.
Her strong will see her thrashed before the magistrate.
Gah! I can't let her go alone. Curses!
Ranjo follows as well.
You should never have married that woman.
Oh, but his wisdom is endless.
Yes. I particularly liked your penultimate line. Because it could be a narration line, yeah? Because it's like just talking about her, because the way that he just describes animals that he hasn't interacted with.
Just facts.
Yeah. Her
Observations.
Yeah, that was really good. It only falls down when you say like you, because you're like you're actually talking to people. When he's talking about people, that's really, then it really works.
Yeah.
Something we should definitely consider. I hope he'll do it. I think if we make it apocalyptic enough, and we sort of say, look, listen, think of all of your recent voiceovers. This is nothing, yeah, because they're always about doom. They are so doom-laden. They're like, oh, you're all gonna die, but not me, but you will. You will die in misery, and yeah, it's really good.
You could get in contact with the BBC and sort of line it up maybe with one of his next shows. He's going to be in Tunisia.
Just put a cloak on,
yeah.
Borrow him for a couple of days.
like Alec Guinness, like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh yeah, the wise old master.
Just put a cloak on.
Wouldn't even need to be him, actually. Just put a cloak on anyone and then just have
the
the voiceover over the top.
Everyone's going to recognise that voice, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah.
And he already sounds, I hate to say it, but
Dry.
Yeah. Like we sounded when we were in the care home.
He's perfect. He's perfect for it. So, yeah, that's just another idea to add to the pot, the very big pot of ideas that I have. I think could be super special just on the basis that we tick those boxes, because we've got like rich people suck, yeah, like rich people suck, yeah. Obviously got to be made by rich people, because we can't, got to have money to make these things. Rich people suck. Climate, oh look what you've done, you've ruined everything. Obviously made by people who would like party to that, but oh, you've ruined everything. Those two things, tick tick. So very confident on that one. I will continue to write it, and I think the only thing that we need to be careful about, we need to watch, we need to get absolutely on the money, on the line, is the level of dryness in the performance. How dry can we be? But you've seen in 2 takes, we've gone from pretty good to very good. So it just shows you how quickly things can progress. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you another time, surely.